Hey guys, how you doing? Happy New Year! It's the first video of the year, and today I'm going to be unpacking my 1-year art challenge. It's the yearly challenge that I set up for myself. It changes from year to year, but I'm going to go into that in a lot more detail here in a minute. So I'm just going to do a deep dive into the 1-year art challenge, and then art challenges in general, and give reasons why I do them and why I think you should do them. While I do that, I'm going to start working on a zombie horde drawing that will be featured in Inktober zine for this year. For this year's zine idea, I'm actually going to be using last year's Inktober series, which is all zombies. And that way I can just focus on working on Inktober instead of working on Inktober and drawing a zine for October for this year. So I think I'm just going to cheat a little bit, so I can just devote my extra time to Inktober, and the zine for October is going to be, of course, the zombies from the year before. So anyway, anxious to get started, so let's go. If you know me at all, you have had to hear me talk about the 1-year challenge at some point. What started off as just a fun exercise has turned into something I look forward to year after year. I both look forward to figuring out what I want to focus on in the up and coming year and reaching the end of the year's current challenge when it starts getting closer to the new year. There's a few reasons why I adopted this practice and why I keep doing it year to year, and I thought I would share them with you guys. I'm hoping some of this will resonate with you and inspire you to find your own challenges to help push yourself and keep yourself creatively young. The history. So, as I said, I started this by accident. What had happened was I wanted to challenge myself to take a photograph a day for 1 year. And, wait, let's back up. I work best in a category. Meaning, in both art and photography, I need a reason to shoot photos or to draw something. For example, I can't just load my camera with film and take off down the road and just wait for something to catch my eye. I have to have a reason to be out there in the first place. Sort of like a hunter. A hunter doesn't just grab a weapon and then find some woods and hope he comes across some wild animal to kill. A hunter decides what it is he is hunting. Say it's a deer. And, and sorry for you animal lovers out there. I'm not trying to promote hunting. It was just the first metaphor that came to mind. Anyway, so you have a hunter and he wants to kill a deer. So what does he do? Well, he chooses a weapon that will be suited for his prey. So he's not going to grab a pocket knife. He will probably grab a rifle. So now he has his prey in mind and a proper weapon. Now he needs to find the right clothes to keep him hidden as best he can. You see where I'm going with this. The point is, I need to have a method to the madness. A future project I have in mind is to create a series of photographs of various Texas flags. In Texas, people love the flag, and they fly it, paint it, hang it, tattoo it, you name it. And so I will choose a camera and type of film that I think will best suit the aesthetics for the project, and then we'll start planning where exactly to get started. Offhand, I know of a house that's in a neighborhood next door where the owners have painted their entire garage with the Texas flag. So I'll probably start there. I'm explaining all this to you because I want you to know that I always have to work within a certain parameter in order to keep myself and my personal projects on task. It helps me to establish a set of rules to work under, and also helps me to get a feel for when the project should be coming to an end. That way, once I reach the end, I can get that sense of accomplishment that makes the whole thing worthwhile. So, now that I've said all that, let me get back to how the 1-year challenge began. So, I wanted to challenge myself to take a photograph a day for 1 year, and I set up the rules of 1, it had to be taken with my iPhone, 2, it had to be a photograph taken using the Hipstamatic app only, and 3, I could take several photos a day, but only one would make the cut. The project would start on January 1st and end on December 31st. And at the end of the year, I would have 365 photos that represented the entire year. It wasn't the first time I had heard of photographers doing this year-long challenge, but it was my first time challenging myself with something that stretched on for so long. And I did it. I took a photo a day for a year. The following year, I did nothing. I decided to give myself a rest and didn't really impose any sort of challenge. But as the next new year approached, I found myself going back to the idea of a year-long creative challenge, and I felt I needed to follow that instinct. So the following year, I wrote a haiku every day for 1 year. The only things I knew about the art of the haiku was left over from 5th grade, so I challenged myself to learn about the art form, read up on some of the great haiku poets before me, researched modern haiku poetry, found some books, read examples, and then began, quite naively I must say, writing my own. From that point on, I have always picked out some way to express myself artistically. I figured out how to make it last the entire year long, and thus the 1 year challenge was born. So, here are the reasons why I still do it to this day. So I'm going to dive into 4 reasons why I do the 1 year creative challenge. Number 1, I feel like it keeps me creatively young. I've not thought that before, but it makes sense to me now saying it out loud. You exercise your body to keep it young, to stay fit and agile as long as you can. Why not exercise your creative muscles? This is a perfect way to do so. It's been said by people much wiser than me that to get better at anything you have to do it, and you have to do it a lot. Jake Parker started Inktober because he wanted to get better at drawing with ink. So, take a personal inventory of something you want to get better at, or a new habit you want to develop, and set it up. You want to get back into drawing? Challenge yourself to draw for 10 minutes a day for a year. You want to read more? Challenge yourself to read 1 book every month, or read for 30 minutes a day, or whatever. I've got no strict guidelines for this. I just make sure it is something I can implement daily, or weekly, or monthly, so I have some sort of metric to measure my success by at the end of the year. Alright, number 2. It allows me to stretch myself outside my comfort zone. Personally, I like to take on a creative challenge that is outside of my wheelhouse, something I'm not already doing daily. For instance, I draw a lot. I draw all the time. So saying to myself, for 2019, you should draw something every other day. Well, that doesn't really help me stretch myself since I'm already sort of doing that. So for 1 year, I challenged myself by choosing a theme for every month, and I drew 12 drawings based on that theme. 1 month, the theme was sci-fi, so I made 12 drawings that had to do with science fiction. I drew iconography from my favorite sci-fi movies like The Millennium Falcon and The Monolith from 2001: A Space Odyssey. Though I was not pushing myself by drawing every day, something I already did, I was pushing myself to explore themes I usually don't explore. So, when you're considering the details of your challenge, try to find things that will force you to deviate from the usual. Alright, number 3. It gives me purpose. I really don't think I'm overreaching to say it gave me a reason to get out of bed. I have to get out of bed to feed kids. I have to get out of bed to go to work. I have to get out of bed to do laundry. A lot of these things I don't want to get out of bed to do. I have to. The 1 year challenge, because it is centered around something I love to do already, was something that I loved getting out of bed for. It is motivating to have a goal and to make strides towards reaching that goal. Sometimes we have trouble staying motivated or getting motivated, but those issues are fodder for another pep talk at another time. For the sake of argument, let's just say that you have picked a 1 year challenge that excites you, and when you do, you will get out of bed to do it. It's gratifying. Number 4. I'm leaving something behind. When a president leaves the White House, there's always this talk of what kind of legacy they left behind. Legacy seems too grandiose for me. I prefer to ask myself this: Quote, what footprints am I leaving behind, and where do they lead? At the time, my boys are 14 and 17 years old. I'm in the later stages of at-home parenthood, to be sure, and for the next couple 3 decades, they will be more concerned with college, finding a job, finding a girl, getting married, balancing a budget, grocery shopping, and all of the things adulting brings. But if for any reason they want to know what things were like in 2015, in 2018, 2025, what I was up to, what our family was like, I have a record to show them. In 2012, I took a photo a day. By looking at these photographs, I can tell you it rained on Easter, it was the year my uncle died, and also the year I got my first tattoo. In 2014, I wrote a haiku a day, and looking over them, I remember it was the year that my neighbor got chickens, another family member, my aunt, passed away, and I photographed a wedding on Halloween. These 1-year challenges double as yearbooks I can pull off the shelves later on and not just remember, but know where I came from, know how much I've accomplished since, and see how much I've grown. So those are my 4 reasons for doing the year challenge and doing one every year. So here's the big push to encourage you guys to do your own challenges. Our challenges today are a dime a dozen. I already mentioned Inktober, but I've heard of Cramuary, NaNoWriMo, Folktale Week, Mermaid, Junefei, and of course, my personal favorite, Arts252. A quick shout out to all the stewards out there. I actively participate in 2 that I've just mentioned, as well as my own. So I'm not here to say that my 1-year challenge is better than any other art challenge. What I really want you to get out of this is to push yourself. Pick a challenge, make it your own, see your potential, believe you can do it, get out of bed, leave footprints behind. I encourage you wholeheartedly. Mine isn't any better or worse than the others, but the reasons why I do it can be applied to all of them. The goal is to uncover and discover more about yourself and your talents and what you are capable of by the end of the year than what you thought at the beginning of it. Alright guys, so that's my deep dive into my yearly art challenge. I hope you've been able to glean some insight from this, or it has sparked some creative urge in you. I beg you, if it has, act on that urge. Pick a goal and work towards it. A book a month, a painting a week, 30 minutes of exercise, a 10-minute sketch, 5-minute meditation, join a writing club, take a photo a day, build a portfolio, practice the piano. Unlock your potential and go do something awesome.